Welcome back to the channel. Once again, it's been a while, but there's been a lot happening. Firstly, there was the painful saga of our second attempt at making a budget endurance race car. Since the E46 went so surprisingly well, we thought, let's have a crack at something more competitive in an even more budget-friendly race. So the criteria was, 1, it needed to cost under 25,000 Czech crowns, which is the equivalent of €1,000. 2, it should ideally be diesel to maximise fuel economy. Audi demolished the 24 Hours of Le Mans with their diesel V10 car back in the mid-2000s, partially because of their mad fuel economy. They were averaging around 42 litres per 100 kilometres, which sounds like a lot, but a petrol 3 Series BMW gets not far off that on a track which is absolutely insane when you consider the performance difference. 3, it needed to not only be somewhat reliable, but have spare parts readily available and aftermarket performance stuff available on the cheap.
I need NOS. I need NOS.
Since we are located in the Central Europe, Volkswagens, Audis, Skodas and BMWs were the most suitable for what we were looking for. So we made a short list of vehicles suitable and, wouldn't you know it, we found a red flag with our name all over it. Enter a 2001 1.9 TDI Audi A3 with the bulletproof PD130 engine. These engines can produce decent power gains and ridiculous torque with minimal effort, and there are countless videos of PD-engined cars all over YouTube smoking around at high speeds. Our A3 had proven itself not to be so bulletproof, and the previous owner had blown the bigger turbo that had been fitted to it not so long before we bought it. Someone had fitted a turbo out of a T4 VW Transporter, straight piped it, and subsequently blown the turbo. There is a pretty common saying that you should never buy someone else's project car, and that is especially true if it's a non-runner, since you have no idea what foolishness has been done to it. But, of course, that didn't apply to us. The theory was that the mods we wanted to do were already mostly done to this car, so if we slap in a replacement turbo, we were already 90% of the way there. It also had Audi TT front brakes, a thicker anti-roll bar, and a 6-speed gearbox, so on paper at least, a really good starting point. It actually got off to a great start because we found the oil return line had been pinched off, which would have caused a buildup of oil in the turbo and killed it, so our theory was turning into reality. We drained out the oil that had filled the exhaust and the cooling system, and after as much inspecting as we could do without tearing the engine apart, determined that the engine was good. It was just the turbo that had given its life in the line of duty. A new turbo was purchased, found to be the wrong model, and then a second turbo was purchased where it was discovered that we would need to modify to get it to fit. The supporting mods that were already fitted were done to such a low standard we didn't want to risk breaking another turbo just so it would fit this mess of janky parts. So a modified standard turbo with a new intake manifold was bought. After much careful bodging, the car was running. That led to this happening.
Oh, it's boosting. Okay, yeah, that's fine. This'll work well. It's actually gonna work. Yes, yes, it boosts. It boosts.
What's this hesitating sound? Is that some bearing or something? I feel like a vibration. Did you hear that?
Oh, white smoke. Shit.
Yeah. That's not good. That was not good. That's from the engine bay.
Where'd it come from?
That's a good question.
We never checked what map the car was running, so it overboosted to well over 2 bar and the brand new shiny turbo said goodbye, after giving the inside of the turbo housing lots of kisses. At this point, we only had a few weeks until the race we had entered, and the A3 had just given us too much of a headache to realistically get it ready in time, so we gave up and sent it to its next owner. So we were back trawling through Facebook Marketplace and the classified for something suitable. After a week, there was nothing that looked suitable until this little gem appeared for only 15,000 Czech crowns or €600. It's a 1.6 16-valve Peugeot 206 in scabby black. It was running well, had some sweet alloy wheels, and had been really well maintained, surprisingly enough. Other than the coolant reservoir being filled with rust and the general raggedy look of the car, it was really solid. There was not long until race day, so the essential maintenance was done. Oil, filter, coolant, and brake discs and pads were all replaced. The only problem we had was when we started bleeding the brakes, the rear bleed nipples sheared with next to no force. The remains of the bleed nipples were drilled out in the hope that they could be salvaged, but it failed miserably. Salvaged rear brake calipers were sourced and fitted, and then the problem was solved. The rear seats were removed and the air conditioning system was pulled out for that race car weight saving. The last thing was a set of Nexen winter tyres. They were fitted since it was expected that there would be snow on the track, being December in the Czech Republic. And that brings us up to speed with how we failed in an Audi and got a French economy car ready in the most basic way possible to go racing. I hope you'll subscribe to the next video where we finally go racing and to keep up to date with our cheap car shenanigans. Ciao ciao for now.